We got special guests with us. Angela McArdle currently serves as the chair of the Libertarian Party of Los Angeles County. I don't know if we're allowed to talk. And is a two-time candidate for California's 34th Congressional District. Angela was a key organizer for the Los Angeles 2013 protest against a ban on feeding in public rights of way. Welcome to the show, Angela McArdle. Also, Nick Brana is with us. You know Nick. He's the National Director of the People's Party, and he was formerly the National Political Outreach Coordinator with Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign. And he became a founding member of the first electoral manager for Our Revolution. It's Nick Brana's with us. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Hey, amigos.
So, Nick.
And Angela's the national chair, I know, of the LP.
Yeah.
So,
I have moved up.
Oh, you are now the national chair. This is out of date, my bio for you.
Got promoted.
Oh, you're not only the chair of the Libertarian Party of Los Angeles County, the national chair of the Libertarian Party. I did not know that. Wow, it's a big deal guest we have. We got to watch out. So there's a thing. So what's happening is you're coming together, and so libertarians, as I know, are against our foreign entanglements, our foreign wars, and they're against empire. Right? Correct, Angela?
That is correct.
And so tell me what's happening with this.
Well, Nick and I are really excited for our parties to work together to just basically say enough is enough. We oppose specifically this war in Ukraine, but American empires and wars abroad in general. And we want to send a strong message to Washington. Republicans and Democrats in particular have failed us. We want to reinvigorate, re-energize the anti-war movement. It died as soon as Barack Obama took office, I think.
Yes.
Right. And so we're here to give it CPR and resuscitate it and bring it back to life. And we want to kick it off with a loud bang on February 19th in D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial.
So
left-right unity.
So this isn't just a libertarian rally. Yeah. This isn't a left-wing rally or a right-wing rally. This is a anti-war rally. And you were correct. When Barack Obama became president, Barack Obama would say things like the Afghanistan war is the good war. Well, you can't be anti-war and think there's good wars. And so that was Barack Obama breaking the anti-war movement.
Wait,
and
is that the one where we got 90% innocent people with drones? That's the good one?
That's the good. Well, that's his drone warfare, which kills 90% innocent people.
Oh my God. How bad was the bad one?
It's like other people had Tamagotchis and he had drones. That's kind of how I see Barack Obama. Like those were like his little pets. Murder pets.
And so they just passed a bill which has another $45 billion in military aid to Ukraine. And, I wouldn't mind so much if, so now it's almost like $100 billion we've sent to Ukraine in 1 year alone. And is there a way we could send $100 billion to America? If you're going to spend, how about we send $100 billion to Houston and Dallas and San Diego and Los Angeles and Boston and New York and Minneapolis and San Francisco and Seattle and Compton and Watts and the South Side of Chicago? How about if we send $100 billion to those cities? That's never going to happen. Why? Because that corruption doesn't work that way. The government only works in the direction of corruption. That's how corrupt our government is. So you can get $100 billion to the most corrupt country in Europe, Ukraine, way before you can get $100 billion to the workers in the United States or the homeless in the United States. 1.5 million children are homeless in the United States. We're sending $45 billion to Ukraine. So again, the war machine is completely out of control. We have 1,000 military. They try to say 800. There's a lot of them are secret. So you round up to about 1,000 military bases around the world. You know how many China has? I don't know, 3. How many does Russia have? 2?
But China wants a blue water navy.
That's right. So it's time that the anti-war movement got energized. And again, it's going to be February 19th. And it's at the Washington Memorial. Is that where it is, or at the Lincoln?
Lincoln. It's at the Lincoln Memorial.
Oh, here it is. I got it right here. At 12:30 p.m. Sunday, February 19th, the anniversary of the Ukraine war and President's Day weekend, to rage against the war machine. Veteran speakers, rock musicians, comedians, and more. After the rally, we'll march to the White House and deliver our demands to warmonger-in-chief Joe Biden. Can we take Ubers to the White House? Because anyway, I'm kidding. Here are your demands. Let me go to the demand. Not one more penny for the war in Ukraine. negotiate peace, stop war inflation. So you mean the inflation that we get in our economy that comes because of war spending? Is that what you mean?
Right. The higher gas, food prices across the U.S., Europe. Yeah.
Wait, that's Putinflation.
That's Putinflation. So disband NATO. Now, that's a big lift, but I'm with you on that. NATO is no longer a defensive organization. It's an offensive organization that serves imperialism. Global nuclear de-escalation. On board with that. Slash the Pentagon budget. I would put that number one. Abolish the CIA and military-industrial deep state. Yes, of course that should happen, but anybody who comes close to making that happen will be killed. Abolish war and empire, 100%. Restore civil liberties and free Julian Assange. Those are great. And here's the speakers. Look at me. I'm supposed to be one. It says Jimmy Dore, Scott Horton. We love Scott Horton. I think he runs the antiwar.com website. And Garland Nixon. We've had him on the show too. So those are great people.
Yeah.
What else do you want to tell the people about this event?
Well, let me break this down for everybody. All right. So since the Second World War, the United States has been the global hegemon. Now that's changing. Now global power is eroding. There's the U.S. global power. There's a multipolar world emerging. But a group of neocons in this country have dedicated themselves to trying to preserve an American-centric empire and world order. And so, and believe that they need to subjugate the rest of the world through endless wars in the Middle East, now in Ukraine, in a war that's killed tens of thousands, displaced millions, and which is threatening to escalate to a nuclear World War III. They apparently see they have no limits. Ukraine is going to lose this war. We know that. Scott Ritter has been giving some excellent interviews on this topic. The problem is that the neocons here, including Joe Biden, who just hours ago met with Zelensky, met with Congress and committed, we are with you to the end. We're going to see it through, whatever it takes. Well, guess what? That Ukraine's going to lose. There's no way for Ukraine to lose. Patriot missiles that are going to come 5 months later aren't going to make a difference. So what they're really saying is we're going to escalate, and then in response to the Ukrainian offensive, which is going to come, which we're nearing, then the U.S. is going to do something else crazy. The U.S. has already greenlit things that were unthinkable during the Cold War. They're striking nuclear bases inside Russia. They're allowing Ukraine to do that with drone bombs, hundreds of miles into Russia. Never happened. And so this conflict has no end for the neocons, and it's upon us in the United States, the only country that has the power to end this conflict, because when Ukraine and Russia tried to negotiate a peace agreement in March, it was sabotaged by the United States. And so we have to stand up here, and we're not the only ones. This action is becoming international. So we're going to be at the Lincoln Memorial on February 19th, and we expect all of you, everybody's got to be there, thousands of people. George Galloway, he's organizing an event, No to NATO, No to War, in the UK, in London, February 25th. We're connecting with MEPs, Mick Wallace and Claire Daly. Medea Benjamin, Code Pink, they just endorsed the Peace in Ukraine Coalition. They just endorsed. It's the largest anti-war coalition here in the United States. So this is growing quickly because people recognize that this war can't be won, but the neocons that run this country in the CIA, in the military-industrial complex, they have no limits to which they're going to push this unless we gather in the tens of thousands in Washington, D.C. and tell them, enough is enough. We are done with this unelected military-industrial deep state running our country.
Well said. And now, Angela, I'm friendly with Dave Smith.
Yep.
And so he was agreeable to a compromise. I said I'd give him Second Amendment guns if he'll give me Medicare for all. Does that sound like a good compromise to a libertarian like you?
Generally libertarians are not for government health care, but when I see 45 billion more dollars going to Ukraine, it's 112 billion right now. And I think about where else would that money go? It could go to murdering people overseas or keeping them alive here. I would much rather see the money go to keeping people alive here. And you know what else? And this might trigger some libertarians, but that's okay. You know, let's have like a little ego death. Let's have a come to Jesus moment. Economic issues are not going to matter if there's nuclear winter.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The first and foremost thing that we've all got to get on is to avoiding nuclear war and obliteration. We will hash out the details later. If you guys want Medicare, I'm at the point where I'm like, we're going to compromise for the sake of literally staying alive and keeping humanity going. So, and then we can come together and work things out later. Like I'm really passionate about doing outreach and working together with the dissident left and people who really understand how dangerous this war and all American empires are.
Yes. And I don't think people realize just how, I've been saying this a lot lately, just how corrupt their government is. Would you agree that Americans think that our government is just kind of regular corrupt? But instead of what it actually is, it's 100% corrupt, and that the only way the gears of government works is in the direction of corruption.
Absolutely.
So it's like we'd have to start all over. It feels like in America, but I think
it does.
Go ahead.
Like just yesterday, one of the most appalling things was the revelation in the Twitter Files Part 8 that CENTCOM is using Twitter to run information campaigns across the Middle East designed to support U.S.-backed genocide in Yemen. How much, like, it's, I can't actually articulate because I don't know how far the tentacles go. It's so overwhelming and so like awe-inspiring in a bad way. The whole thing just needs to be burned to the ground, in my opinion. It's just got to be killed. Everything that's going on right now with the U.S. government, especially foreign policy, it's really sinister. People don't realize we're the evil empire. We're the world's terrorists. It's not a bunch of jihadists, right? It's us. We did Afghanistan for 20 years. We did Iraq. We did Libya. We did Syria. Now we've provoked this thing in Ukraine. We're in Ethiopia, Somalia. I mean, come on. We're instituting coups all over South America and Central America. So I think the thing with Peru.
Yes.
What's been going on with Peru? There's been apparently a media blackout on that. I haven't seen anyone else discussing it.
So that's where we can come together. People like me, who I consider myself left of the Democratic Party, and people like you, who is a libertarian right-winger, and we can agree that we need to end empire and invest that money back in our own country. And I think we can come together on this, and I'm gonna.
Absolutely. I love it.
So, all right. Well,
Exactly.
Angela, I really appreciate your leadership on this. Same thing with Nick. And so Code Pink has joined this protest?
So the Peace in Ukraine Coalition's on board. Medea Benjamin is going to be speaking. She's the head of Code Pink. And at the end of the march, at the end of the rally, we are going to march to the White House, like you said, and we're going to deliver our demands to Joe Biden. Tens of thousands of people on May Day 1971 in protest of the Vietnam War stopped Nixon from dropping nuclear bombs. This is what we need. And so I'm going to call, Scott Ritter, Roger Waters, everybody, we need you with us. General Douglas McGregor, everybody, we need you to come out. We need you to take part in this. There's a lot of people who are getting in touch with us already. This is growing quickly. And we need to make this stand, because at any point, Russia could make their offensive, and we don't know how the neocons are going to react, how they're going to escalate. They've talked about insane things like sinking the Black Sea Fleet, the Russian-backed Black Sea Fleet, putting nuclear weapons even closer to Russia than they are, which of course eliminates any kind of warning time that Russia would have. Russia right now is reevaluating its nuclear posture. Russia's had a nuclear posture of no first strike. They're reevaluating that now as a result of the U.S. putting nukes and being so aggressive, putting nukes so close to the country. The U.S. has surfaced just in the last couple months. They've done things that they typically never do. They've surfaced 3 nuclear submarines in a clear move that is threatening and antagonizing Russia. And so that's why we need everybody to come out, everybody who can help make this a big event, bigger than just a cultural audience. I mean, bigger than just a political audience, to a cultural level. That's why we need you, Roger.
Yep. Ron Paul's foreign policy expert, Dan McAdams, is going to be on board. Eliza Blue is going to be on. She's really passionate about freeing Julian Assange. And Rose McGowan is also interested in joining us. So our numbers are growing like moment by moment. I've probably got a bunch of notifications right now. I'm sure Nick does too. We're watching it happen in real time. And as horrifying as this whole event is, watching people respond to it and get excited about opposing it is really encouraging, and it does give me some hope for humanity.
So is there a website people can go to get more information?
RageAgainstWar.com.
RageAgainstWar.com. All right, February 19th, Sunday. That's the big deal. We'll see you there. Nick Brana, Angela McArdle, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you on February 19th.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, December 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. And we're going to be in Tempe, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.